Hey, Brock.
Oh, hi there.
Hey, hey. I'm wearing two
How's it going?
microphones, one on my Battlefront headset and one in front of me that everyone's hearing me on. How you doing?
Pretty good. That's a lot of microphones.
Yeah, well, you've got to hear me and they got to hear me. This is just how I'm going to do it
Yeah.
today. I forgot actually that this microphone, that the one, you can't see that I'm touching the microphone on my Battlefront headset was on. I forgot until I just asked you how you're doing. So there you go. There you go. So we got some
Nice.
cool news on the weekend. You and I are going to be attending Toronto Comic Con. Toronto
Yeah,
Comic
that's
Con?
right. Hooray.
Yeah.
We're going to throw tomatoes at Andrew at his table. It's
We're
going
going
to
to
be
see he's
great.
going to have his book Side Scroller, which I'm holding up to the screen right now. You should buy his book. He was at a bookstore in his hometown this past weekend. And he told me how many copies he sold, and I'm very proud of him. He actually did a very good job.
How many did he sell?
-4.
Oh, perfect.
No, he sold quite a few. I don't remember the exact number. I'll tell you off camera. He sold quite a few though. It was it's got to be really tough to do that. To go into a bookstore where nobody knows you and say,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
hey, buy my book," and people are like, "Absolutely not." Nobody I've never met. So kudos to him for doing that. That takes. I would probably do it, but I don't know if I would do it. You know what I mean? Like, I would go in there and be like, I don't want to talk to that person. I want to talk to that person. And I would probably, like, if I could sell 3 books, I would be like, it would be my parents and like somebody else related to me for sure. Aaron would not buy one. Just so
No.
just so you know. So yeah, we're gonna be checking out that his book. So Andrew actually has a table at Toronto Comic Con to sell his book Side Scroller, and just a couple booths next to him is Star Wars author E.K. Johnston, who will be there as
Yeah.
well. So I'll probably be picking up the new Padme book, which I'm very excited to read. So this is all I want to do at Comic Con is buy that book and ignore Andrew as best as possible. Just ignore him. So a couple things happened in Star Wars Land, Brock.
Yep.
A lot of Galaxy Edge stuff, but let's go right into the cream of the crop here. The Episode 9 Hubbabaloo. Apparently, I guess footage was shown to the shareholders. Do you know? Did you read the tweets? Did you read the articles about the tweets? What were your thoughts on that?
No, because unless there's something I can look at, I don't really trust anything. I know that there were shareholders. I knew that something happened, but I didn't follow anything along with it. I read recently that there's another report that it's going to be an epic scale of a movie, which is not overly surprising because it's going to be the end of a trilogy and the end of a saga. But that they were comparing it to be bigger in scale than Return of the King, Lord of the Rings. So that's great. But no, I have avoided any of that hearsay, or whatever.
Well, let me fill you in. Images were shown that I personally, and I mentioned this earlier, I kind of felt that I can't say underwhelming because I'm sure when you're in the moment and you're a shareholder and you see the footage, there's more to them and you get to experience them and the visuals are stunning and whatnot. But nothing came out of it that made me go, oh yeah, let's talk about that today. Except for the clickbaitiness of Episode 9 footage revealed. Like, that's the only thing that you could really say. Because nothing from what I saw... spoiler alert for anybody that doesn't want to hear spoilers about this, pause now. But I'm sure this will appear in the first trailer anyway in 30 days. Vader's helmet makes a return with Kylo. And Kylo is in like a white room of some sort.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So Vader's helmet returning, which I think is crucial. Not crucial, but no, for Kylo Ren, I think actually Vader's helmet is kind of crucial. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I always found it interesting when he would talk to the helmet in Force Awakens. I'm all for that because, it is the end of the Skywalker saga, so put an end note on it. But yeah, that doesn't sound overly exciting. I say, a white room is always cool because Kylo Ren will probably be all in black, so someone wearing black in an all-white room always looks aesthetically pleasing, I suppose. So That sounds like fun. But there is no actual footage, is there?
Yeah, this was off. No, it's not online, but the shareholder saw it, and one of the shareholders came out.
Okay, yeah.
And he tweeted about it, and apparently all three of our heroes are on the Falcon together. Ray, Finn, and Poe are on the Falcon together. I think someone says something about having to leave. Ray says that she has to split up, and they say, no, we go together. That sounds like a Poe line for sure. But then there's also word that there might have been a fourth person on it, and no one really knows who that fourth person is on the Falcon at that point. Yeah, there's a blockade. I don't know. I still think the trailer that guessing will be shown for the first time at Star Wars Celebration when they do this Avengers thing now and release the title with the trailer. That seems to be what they like, and that's whatever. I don't care. I think what we're going to get is the Chewie we're home moment will be Leia. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it's going to be Leia is going to be the Chewie we're home moment, and it will be at the end of the trailer. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we may. This is what I'm thinking. I could be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong because I have no idea what's being shown. But you don't show Leia at all because everyone's curious what's up with Leia. What's the deal with Leia? How's Leia going to look? You hold her until the very end, and then she says, Luke, we're home, and they're on Naboo.
She's like, Luke.
Actually, wait,
Get
there's a
blue milk.
There is the blockade, though, and they were both born on that blockade, correct?
Yeah.
Luke, we're home. How excited are you for Dole Whip blue milk? Are you excited for that?
I don't know. Like, I feel like, yes, it's going to be like a Dole Whip thing. Those things don't sound appetizing. I mean, I know all you have to do is just turn it blue, but like it's milk and pineapple, like milk and pineapple.
It's not milk though. It's not milk. It's all beans and stuff.
Okay, but like, I don't know. Still beans and pineapple, soy. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I never had the Dole Whip, so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but okay, milk and pineapple. Wait a minute. Side Akbar. Creamsicle.
Okay.
Would you want a pineapple creamsicle?
That's orange.
No. Pineapple. A pineapple creamsicle. It's an orange creamsicle.
No, maybe it's a personal thing because I don't like creamsicles either, right? Like that's the thing. Like citrus and dairy, even though, yeah, that's not too far-fetched. I don't know. It's just, if you ask me, like blue milk, Dole Whip, just something about it doesn't sit right with me. But I'm also big into Disney, so if you have it, I will go.
If you go to
eat it.
If you not just you, but anybody goes to Galaxy's Edge and does not get the blue milk, it's even more blasphemous than going to Harry Potter Land and not having the butterbeer. You know what I mean? Like, I can see you not having butterbeer, but blue milk, it's like, well, I think you got to go for it. I think it should be a prerequisite. When you walk in, they should just hand you cups of blue milk because you're giving the money anyway. Like, you should just empty your wallets, your purses, your pockets, whatever. Just money just falls on the floor as you walk. You don't have to pay anything. That's just what happens. They have vacuums sucking everything out of your pockets. Are you gonna? So you plan on going to LA this summer? Do you think are you going to pre-order Galaxy's Edge today? Because if you don't today, I don't think you can get in.
No, I'm not. I don't do any of that. Like, I want to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for the park, but like, no. Like, I will go to Disney. I will get my ticket before I get into the park because it's all digital. But my trip to California isn't booked, so I'm not being controlled by when I go. Like, I work for the Blue Jays, so I'll probably go on the All-Star break in July, but yeah, like, I mean, I don't want to be a stick in the mud. Like, if we're like, yes, let's get tickets and go, but like, we live in a world now where like pre-ordering tickets is a thing. Like, we bought our celebration tickets like 17 years ago, but I don't know. I think what's daunting to me about the park is that it's going to be crazy busy. which is a Disney park, however way you shake it. But like, I don't want to book something that's just going to be me standing in lines. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I went to all 4 of the parks at Orlando this summer.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom was a disaster. There was 4 bazillion people there on a Wednesday in October.
Yeah.
And there was a hurricane like 2 hours north of us. So it's like this combination of suckage. But I had the time of my life, as is my 6-year-old niece. Everyone else was miserable. But we were like, yeah.
But that's what it was. That was what it was like in January too. We went to the Magic Kingdom on a Friday, I think, maybe a Thursday. I can't remember. No, we were there. No, it was probably a Saturday, but in the middle of January. So, and it was worse than it was in August, which you think would be the adverse, but not really.
Well, I think people are smarting up and they're like, I want to get away from the cold, and they go there.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same idea. But yeah, so it was a complete nightmare. Then we went to Hollywood Studios on a Friday, completely dead. Nobody was there. I got to see the Stormtrooper parade, which was awesome. Everything was fun about it. Toy Story Land, though, which is so Galaxy's Edge, that's where it's going, and you can see the sign, the walls up. You can walk up the diorama of it and see the trailer of what's to come. Nothing obviously as in depth as what's come now, because this was October. They were just like late. They actually said late 2019. I'm thinking now it's actually mid, especially like for Orlando. August 31st that's not fourth quarter yet. That's still like Q3. Maybe that's considered late. I don't know. But anyway, Toy Story Land is there. And Toy Story Land wasn't Magic Kingdom busy, but it was busy. Like when you compare it to the rest of Hollywood Studios, it was like, oh, that's where everybody went.
Yeah.
Like everybody was there. And Toy Story is great. People love Toy Story, but Toy Story is not Star Wars. And the land itself, as cool as it was not Hogwarts or Harry Potter Land or whatever the hell. It was not the Wizarding World-esque at all. You know what I mean? Like not at all. Like Avatar, I think, was a lot cooler than Toy Story Land. That was busy also, but like,
yeah.
Whew. But even Avatar, I think at like 9 a.m. if you want, you can get a speed pass for some things like right away. You could show, or not speed pass, but the lineup wasn't too long. It didn't get long until like 10 a.m. I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like Galaxy's Edge. If you guys go, take pictures, send it to us, because I'm not going until probably 2025. When the lineups are only 2 hours long. Although a 20-minute ride on the Falcon, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah. It's very, very hard to say I don't want to go. So we'll see. I mean, depending how my vacation works out, I might go. I mean, I'm going to Disney. If I go to California, I'm going to Disneyland for sure. So seems silly to not try to get in, but you know, like if the lines are what they are and I can't get in without a pass from like 6 months prior, pass.
Well, okay, so to get into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, it's just the same ticket as Hollywood Studios, correct?
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, I thought I wasn't sure if they were making you pay more to go there or not. I know that was something they talked about at one point, so I don't know if that ever came into fruition. If it's not, if it's not though, and you go to Hollywood Studios, I would say if you go to Hollywood Studios, although I think LA Hollywood Studios has a Cars ride, which I hear is phenomenal, but the Muppet Show, man, the Muppet Show was awesome. It's like, it's not long, but it's awesome because you're in like the Muppet Studios, and I thought it was a great time. But if you end up going to Hollywood Studios, go to Galaxy's Edge, just take a look at the crowds, take a look at the people working there.
Yeah.
And let us all know how it is, because
right, yeah.
I'm saying that like you're going tomorrow. You might not even go, and if you do, it's 6 months from now. Like it's. But yeah, so let's move on to our next order of business. It has been 1 year since the cartoon that captured everyone's heart, the animated show that captured everyone's hearts, Star Wars Rebels, has come and gone. Do you remember the amount of visceral that was with it when it first was announced? And they were like, they canceled the Clone Wars. This looks like everyone's so round. Why is everyone so round? How many? 5 years later, that was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you this question before we get into it, though. Is I kind of had an argument with myself thinking about it when we were talking about the show, and they did the hashtag Rebels Remembered on Wednesday. Or Tuesday, whatever it was. And I was thinking to myself, is like Rebels. I think we've said this on the show. Rebels is pretty much ended up being what I think we were all hoping Disney would turn Star Wars into. It was
I agree. Yeah.
Like it almost is like a missed opportunity for a movie franchise in a lot of ways. I mean, it can still go back and do a different point of view of that time frame, but like that's basically what we wanted. They combined the old trilogy with the new trilogy with the prequel trilogy, and it brought everything together.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I liked it. It was its own thing, but then it felt like Star Wars, and like it had Filoni in, so you're like, well, he also made Clone Wars, so this is good. But yeah, like it seems like just yesterday it went off the air, but it hasn't. And I've always liked Rebels. I think every season got to see a previous of the prior episode, so it was always sort of fun. It's like I didn't experience that with anything else. So.
Yeah, Rebels was a show I was looking forward to when it first came out. It took me, I don't think I watched it till the end. I just bought it on iTunes randomly. And then the second season they did that movie. Was that the Siege of Lothal, or was that the first episode?
Yeah,
they did the Vader like midsummer, which was kind of the premiere, but kind of like a between season movie type thing. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And then I got right into it from there, watching that stuff. You saw it at Comic-Con, then you saw the final season, or the second last season, the first couple episodes at Fan Expo, and then we were lucky enough to see the first episode of the final season at Star Wars Celebration, which was awesome to be a part of.
Yeah. So, I'm more or less caught up on Resistance, though. Apparently a new episode came out this week or last week. That's apparently a big deal, but I like it, but it does feel a little bit more for a younger viewer, but I mean, I don't know, like it's Filoni's still involved, so it's sort of like there's got to be something coming. So,
well, I haven't seen it yet. I'm really wanting to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I kind of shy away from spoilers, but I keep hearing that it's gotten so much better, and that the last few episodes are amazing. And the finale is next week, or it just happened, but everyone was really. I know a lot of people that I follow on social media were very, very pumped about that. Yeah. So I can't. Yeah. I mean, it's also with Star Wars, and the one problem that all of these shows have, that Rebels has, and Resistance has, and I don't think The Mandalorian will have it, but another show that happens in a time frame that hasn't been completely told yet is they might be afraid to take a chance on the story, because Rebels, the first season's safe. It's very safe. I mean, yeah, we get, there's a Jedi. Okay, of course there's a Jedi. And then you're like, he's also he's going to be a Jedi. He's strong with the Force. And then, we get the Mandalorian and all that stuff. They played it very safe. And as it went on, they're like, what really was cool about the Clone Wars was the lore of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think because the way Rebels kind of came in as the children's show and hooked whoever they had to hook right away, I think that and people started to trust the series as well, and because of that trust, they were able to feel like they were allowed to go into to delve into that lore, and even when it could have been considered boring, like a holocron could be considered boring to a non-Star Wars fan, or something, just uninteresting to them. They felt they could get away with that because they had us in there. And now they could say, like, there's a holocron. Oh, that's kind of dumb. Actually, no, it's not. Here's why. Whereas if they didn't hook you and they didn't kind of bring you in and reel you along for the first little while, they spring something on you, you might be like, I'm not interested in that story. That's not my Star Wars. They had to have to, like, establish Star Wars in order to have Star Wars grow.
Yeah, no, it's I completely agree with you.
Good.
Good.
This segment has been called Totally Agreeing with James. Also, we're going to do
totally agree with you.
Next week. We're going to have the return of a segment called Tell That to Conja Club.
Tell That to Conja Club.
We do it anyway. We just haven't called it Tell That to Conja Club in a while, so we'll call it Tell That to Conja Club. Coming up next. All right, you want to do some odds?
Sure.
Do you know our Patreon names by heart?
Oh, yeah. Sure I do. Hold on.
Never Tell Me the Odds is brought to you in part by Patreon. And by in part, I mean all of it is brought to you by Patreon. Do you want me? I'll start with the names this week on Patreon. We have Heidi Fedor, Den Allen, Phil Standiforth, Heather Long, Scott D. Do you want to take it or do you want me to keep going?
Just keep going because I don't have the email open.
Christine Allison, I sprung this on him. He didn't know I was going to do this. Jacob Nixon, Andy Higgins, Mason Hope, our newest Patreon, or Mason Hop, Matt W, FP, and regrettably the Den of Nerds.
Oh, boo.
Boo, Josh, boo.
Boo.
I didn't see this, but Josh, I don't think was a huge fan of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Captain Marvel. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it. I liked it.
Is it? Okay. I haven't seen it yet because I live in a forest. And so the crappy theater is playing it in like 2 weeks. I saw the poster. I'm going to go. That's going to be my first experience at that theater. How to Train Your Dragon 3 is playing right now. I was tempted to go. I don't know how much it costs. I'm hoping it's like $275 a ticket. That's really
right.
But it's probably $17.95. Anyway, but it's literally the size of your computer screen, I imagine. Yeah. But I keep hearing that it's actually not that great. Can you give a quick review of it without spoilers?
I enjoyed it, but I'm a bad review because I like all the Marvel movies because I like Marvel comics.
But you even like the DC movies, though.
Yeah, more or less. Maybe not Suicide Squad. I like. You know what I like about Suicide Squad? I like joking about Suicide Squad. Not so much like putting it down. It's just I have a group of people that we talk about Suicide Squad for some reason. I have a bet, or no, I said I would pay for someone to get a Suicide Squad themed tattoo. I would pay for it if they did it, but I get to pick which character is in the tattoo, and that character is Viola Davis. So nice. You know, I'm never gonna have to like get that tattoo paid for, but like I like to joke about that. Like, but in regards to Captain Marvel,
is it bottom 5, middle, top 5?
Oh no. I mean, I went with my girlfriend and her 2 friends, and all 3 of them all said they were bored during the movie, except for when the music came in. Like, there was 90s music, so which is not a surprise. That's actually what they basically pushed the movie on. I think it was good. The CG looked pretty decent for most time. Not that that's a huge seller either way. Like, these movies look, you know, they look real-ish. Story-wise, I don't know, maybe I don't want to use the excuse of like I know what the character is. I mean, if you were to tell me 10 years ago they're gonna make a Captain Marvel movie, I'd be like, why? Like, she's an interesting character. Does she need a movie? I don't know. But
well, does she still need a movie?
I don't know. I mean, it made $200 million, so it's considered a success.
But Marvel,
but that's just because, like, what else is out right now besides How to Train Your Dragon?
It's a new Marvel movie. It's not a sequel.
And it just says Marvel on it. So this could be, I would say, this could be the start of where people start questioning, oh, it's a Marvel movie, do I go? Because that's the problem, and I will agree on this. There's oversaturation of this, and Star Wars is kind of going through the same thing where it's like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie, I have to go see it, and they're like, that wasn't very good. But it's like, well, yeah, at some point you're not gonna like these movies. It's because it's not like I said, they were bored. The party I went with, they didn't hate the movie. They were just like, because like, at some point these effects aren't interesting anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's
trust me, I'm there.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that doesn't sell you. It's got to be about story and character.
Well, look at me. My biggest complaint about Infinity War is space dogs at the end. I'm like the only one that doesn't, but I get bored because it's like CG space dog versus CG superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
And the space dogs are going to die, and the heroes aren't going to be affected.
Yeah.
Like it's like I just want to jump over the CG blur and get the Thanos coming down and whooping ass.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind, like, Avengers was created to put all these heroes together, but like it was also because they're not as interesting apart, they're better together. So it's like you follow this Captain Marvel character, and let's just call it what it is. She's basically Green Lantern, you know, she's a cop from space. They did her origin story, they did it slightly differently, but I don't know, it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes by critics, or it might have changed by now, but during the week prior, like the Thursday, Friday, it was certified fresh. So it's like, it's not a matter of like if the movie is good or not. It's just, if you didn't like it, cool. I highly suggest watching it, because like Marvel will want to do more space movies, or at least attempt to. Like Guardians of the Galaxy has done well. Thor technically is a space thing. Like now that their big bad is from space, so they're gonna want to explore that more. So they have that with Captain Marvel. I don't know. It's just sort of like, I haven't really said anything, but it's just like, I enjoyed the movie. It's a movie, you know. It's sort of like, maybe you can equate it to like Fast and Furious. No, there's no cars, but you're like, well, that is a movie, and it's sort of like it's not really a love-hate. You're just like, this is kind of ridiculous, and I stayed awake in the theater, I guess, is the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, does that make any sense? Like, you never hear huge hate for a movie like Fast and Furious, no. But it's not realistic. But it is a new Marvel movie. It's like, they even showed the Shaw and Hobbs trailer when we were watching Captain Marvel, and it was like, this is insane. They're like running across buildings and stuff like that, and it's like, that doesn't happen. So
yeah, but
I don't know.
But you know what? The people that go to see Fast and Furious movies go to see Fast and Furious movies, and people that don't. Like and then look, a lot of people go, but it's not like people don't go to Fast and Furious to hate on Fast and the Furious. Do you know what I mean? Like it's weird. I gotta bring this up. It's the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that's coming out. When they released that picture, or somebody leaked that picture of Sonic, and everybody went ape poop on social media about it. I'm sure people are writing right now how bad it looks. I saw it. I was like, that looks like a movie version of Sonic the Hedgehog to me. And I think you kind of agreed with that statement. And a few other people did, and then I was like, I'm not gonna say who it was, but I said to you, I'm like, I'm gonna ask this one person, because this one person has the mentality of everybody online, and I sent it to that person, and the response I got was, "Ugh," or "Oh God," or something like that. And it's like, I don't like, and then I said, what is so bad with it, and I never got a response. So anyway.
No, it is. It's just, I think Hollywood needs to stay away from pre-existing properties, you know. Like it's like Sonic will probably do very well, especially if Detective Pikachu does very well. Like, people are like, oh, I saw that movie, I'll go see, because that is how it works, right? Like with marketing of films, right? It's like, you like this, well, why don't you like this, you know? So I think we're getting to a point where like your average viewer is like, well, I've seen this. Yeah. So it's like, if Captain Marvel isn't someone you're interested hugely in, then you're probably not going to like it. You know, it's like the Captain Marvel you see in the film is the one they've retconned in the last few years, where she used to be Miss Marvel, now she's Captain Marvel, and she's more of a jet pilot, sort of. She's like a military woman. Like, I'm not saying that didn't exist prior, but it wasn't as big of a deal because she basically wore a bathing suit and was super strong. Again, like I'm going into dangerous territory, but like some people remember that one, and some people remember and some people over the current one. So it's like you kind of can't win, because even though it's the same character, there's been slight changes, and maybe that's what brought you in. I don't know. we have a Captain Marvel movie. Like, I don't know. I just feel like just sort of let it go, because it's like, yeah, I you know, they've took chances now, and I don't know. But I think did you read that Marvel was like, they shot 2 endings to Endgame depending on if Captain Marvel flopped. So,
oh, I never read
or
that.
I think it was the ending that they shot 2 of. I think I read that today, but I don't know. It's
so far so good on Captain Marvel. I'll go see it at the Crappy Theater. You guys saw Captain Marvel? Let us know in the comments below. Or did you do?
Yep.
Did you? I won't bring it up. I won't bring. Let's just move on. Let's just move on to
my final thing on Captain Marvel is just watch it on Netflix. Then you'll be less angry. The end.
That's true. No, my favorite was I quickly gotta bring this up. Is people were all complaining about Captain Marvel and it's sexist, but mostly it's sexist. I find that it's sexist. People complain about the sexist. Anyway, whatever. So anyway, they're complaining that it was sexist, and the person who is commenting on this will laugh at this because they were like, you don't want to see it, don't see it. I'm gonna go see it. And then somebody said, I will not give Marvel my money. I will wait to buy it on Blu-ray.
What? Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And I looked at it and I didn't comment on the post, but I DM'd the person who this was a response to, and we both had a very good laugh.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good laugh because that was the dumbest comment I have ever heard in my entire life. So you keep your money and you pay double what you pay to see in the theater for the Blu-ray. And you have that movie forever because you're a completionist. Oh, the morons that are around today. All right, here we go. Thank you, everybody, for your Patreon support. Never tell me the odds. Also, buy Side Scroller. If you don't buy Side Scroller, whatever. Here we go. The odds of Sabine and Ahsoka comic book series. The odds of a Sabine and Ahsoka comic book series.
Oh, that would change my life because if you don't know, we've opened our own Rebel Scum Facts Instagram feed, and on the premise of, you know, Marvel has this great digital code thing, and it's like, oh great, so I could read the comics and then grab some snapshots and throw up information. Like, I don't want to seem like I'm trying to take advantage of what Marvel's doing for its fans. No, I want to talk more about like the cool things that are happening. Like, if you've kept up to date on like Darth Vader, where it shows he goes into this Force dimension. I can't even exactly describe it properly, but it basically infers that Emperor Palpatine impregnated Shmi Skywalker by manipulating her midichlorians, and it's so vague, so it's not exactly that, but that stuff that's like boom, and then Instagram is a perfect medium to like get that to people that aren't reading. So back to the odd, that would be perfection, because we need more Ahsoka. I mean, I don't remember that in the last few years of doing this podcast me being so excited about Ahsoka, but like that's one of the great things about Rebels. It brought her back, and this is a perfect spot to do it. And if it does well, they're like, oh, maybe we'll just toss them in somewhere. Boom. I don't know. Yeah, I would love 100%. I'm gonna go double Brock on that.
Double Brock. Ooh.
Double Brock.
I'm gonna go 51%. I could see that being a great medium, but I could also see maybe Filoni bringing us a Disney Plus adventure on animated adventure. Could be something in the works. I can see that definitely happening, whether it's a miniseries or a film. I know they said there'd be no Star Wars movies, but they didn't really say no Star Wars animated films, which I think is a different thing altogether, and they can consider that for sure. So I'm going to go 51%. But who does not want to see more Sabine and Ahsoka hanging around? Like you said, Ahsoka's just become such a great, phenomenal character. Yeah. Our next odd, the odds of Jason Syndulla appearing on Resistance. I have to go low on this one.
Resistance occurs between Return of the Jedi and
it's like
Force
4
Awakens,
months
correct?
before Force Awakens, I think. It's pretty close to Force Awakens.
No, that's accurate, knowing a couple of the episodes. I mean, that puts it right. He could be a full adult at this point. And yeah, I think it's low too, but I'm gonna go 40%, because I want to be on the higher end of the low. If that makes sense. Like, I would love that, and it'd be like, you just throw it in on one episode and everyone's like, or like people like me and James will be like, ee! But yeah, I mean, I can't. I don't know exactly what his importance is, but
I'm gonna go 21%.
Okay, cool.
I just don't think.
I mean,
I don't think
in Legends, they made the clone of Luke Skywalker where it was Luke with 2 U's and people loved it, so whatever. Or the later on where there was like Caden Skywalker, it was like the grandson of Luke Skywalker where they jump far in the future. So it's like, as long as they're Jedis, I don't think anyone cares how you deliver it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
All right, our final odd for today: the odds of Callus appearing in live action.
Callus.
I think it was a missed opportunity for Rogue One to take what was his name? Darren, Dondo, the blonde guy in Rogue One. They should have just made him Callus. Sure, Callus hadn't made the turn yet by the time Rogue One came out, but I think that would have been cool. I think.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Rogue One would have been perfect for it. That's the thing. It's sort of, you have to put in that time period because it's like we're looking more at new trilogy. No, maybe not so much. I guess, okay. Yes, I know exactly where you put it, and maybe this is why it was asked. You just put them in the Cassian Andor show, right? Because they do have that somewhat connection of both being fulcrum at some point, which is never really been explored, at least with the Cassian side of it. We just, what was it, like a fax book that said codename Fulcrum, and people were like, oh, and then boom, and then you just have an episode called Fulcrums, and there's like a white lightsaber shows up, so it's Cassian, Ahsoka, and Callus all in one, right? I'm thinking of the right character, right? Yeah. The spy from or not spy, the whatever he was. No, I would say 40% as well, because it's sort of like, but I would love that because I like the idea of Fulcrum. So if we could explore that, great.
Yeah, I would love that. Absolutely. All right, that's Never Tell Me Guys. You got some news?
I do. Are you ready for the HOLO news? The news you need to know for nerdy nonsense. As we already spoken about it last week, Galaxy's Edge, their openings were announced for both parks. It's going to open in Anaheim on May 31st. So that's they said summer, but I feel like that's more, well, it's definitely more spring. And then August 29th it'll open to Orlando. So like that's pretty wild. That's open, I would argue, profoundly earlier than they assumed. Though I said this to my girlfriend, August 29th, that's not fall, but at Disney, Halloween fall colors show up in like July, August anyway, so in their minds it's fall. So but yeah, I'm psyched to see as much. I mean, we've seen a little bit, but like it's gonna be neat when people start going and we see more on social media. But hopefully the Rebel Scum podcast will get there one day, live from the Millennium Falcon, James and Brock. That's what it's gonna be like. And speaking of fun for kids, have you ever checked out the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel? You might know this as where on YouTube where they have that show Star Wars Galaxy Adventure, where it's like a cartoon version of epic moments in the saga. But they have a series called Star Wars by the Numbers, and they recently did a video where they tell you how many types of, for lack of a better term, alien species that are in the original trilogy, and they go scene by scene and count them and name them, like, you know, because it's for kids, so it's like that's the name of that character and that's the number of how many we're at. And I think it came down to like 72 different types of alien species, so anyone that kind of didn't look human, from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi. Check it out, just search Star Wars Kids. They got a lot of good stuff, but it's really neat to see it. So I just wanted to give that a shout out. Taika Waititi was being interviewed for something, who knows what. I know he has a new movie or series coming out that's supposed to be about World War II. But you know him from What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wildebeest, and of course Thor Ragnarok. So he's worked for Disney, and now he's going to work for Star Wars, doing I think at least one episode of The Mandalorian, because he's on a list of like. It's amazing how Lucasfilm is just throwing money. It's like, just get us all the names, because if you've looked, there's a lot of pretty interesting directors that are working on The Mandalorian. But he was being asked about that, and he's, you know, I'm sure he's super psyched to work on Star Wars, but he said it's different because he wants to do what he's done in the past with, you know, What We Do in the Shadows or Flight of the Conchords. But he says, but I can't. It's a very sacred universe, the Star Wars universe, so I can't do much of it. So it's sort of, I think we're going to see a really creative episode, because if you've seen anything he's directed, it's very interesting, but that humor is not going to be there. When I read this, I was like, is this kind of like the Lord Miller issue where it's like, this is a little too funny. It's not what we're going for. So that's cool. I'm excited to watch The Mandalorian and his episode specifically. And in our final story, we're a month away from Celebration, so you know there's got to be announcements left, right, and center. Last week, mid last week or later in the week, it was announced that Ahmed Best, Jar Jar Binks, and Aaron Kellyman and Fiz Ness will be at Celebration. So Jar Jar Binks, we've been waiting for that announcement. We were hoping he would show up, and there he's going to be there. But today they announced that the Saturday will have a panel on the bringing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to life, which will be solely around the park, and hopefully we'll see footage that we haven't seen before, or some hidden secrets that we haven't seen. But it's going to be a whole panel devoted to the theme parks about a month and a half before Anaheim opens. So that's very exciting. I hope to get into that one, because this is interesting. You know, we've never had, I know we have Hollywood Studios and the Star Wars, I think it's in California Adventures, but like, this is a Star Wars theme park. This is a very monumental moment in Star Wars history, so I'm very excited. And this has been your HOLO News.
HOLO News. All right, let's move on to top 5. Today's top 5 are top 5 Star Wars Rebels moments. Moments that hit a chord for us with Star Wars Rebels. I will go first. My number 5 was the moment in the very first episode when Kanan revealed to us that he was a Jedi. Sure, we already knew because we knew, but it was like, oh, how I thought Luke was the only Jedi or Obi-Wan, but no, there was another one named Kanan, and from there we got to learn his cool story, and it was kind of phenomenal. And now he has an offspring. But that was my moment. It was kind of nice to see a lightsaber shine bright once again in Star Wars.
My number 5, just moments in Rebels.
Moments.
I want to say something about oh god, what was the rebel? What was the droid?
Chopper.
What was the
Chopper?
Chopper. I want to say something about him. Like, he had that really good episode by himself. But since I can't think of a moment with him right now, I'm gonna go number 5. The evil Ezra sort of. I guess it's like the first episode where he's being affected by the Sith holocron, but it's the first episode and he comes back and his hair is cut and he's like doing Jedi flips and it's crazy. Like that opening of at least that first episode where they're on that like that I don't know what you call it, like platform, and he knocks over ATSD into like this canyon below. I'm like, that's really fun. I was like, oh wow, this can be exciting.
Yeah. My number 4, when Maul and Obi-Wan confront each other on Tatooine. Great moment. Love it. Love that moment. Started from The Phantom Menace, continued in Clone Wars, ends in Rebels.
My number 4 is gonna be Rex and Ahsoka reunite, and they're just like, oh, that's really cool. It's Even though I've never read the Ahsoka book, I know that Rex is a big part of that book, so I'm sure it's much more meaningful if you know the book as well. But like, it's a scene that like the social, like Instagram especially has hooked onto it, like because they compare it to when Ahsoka was young and it was the Clone Wars, and now then after they have this, there's like a conversation that almost occurs across these two episodes in different series, so that's kind of cool.
My number 3 bookends my number 5, and that is first we see Kanan reveal himself to be a Jedi, and then we see his death. His death, I thought, was a great moment on the show. It was impactful. Carried the weight of everyone else with it throughout the rest of the series, and it made other episodes stronger because of it.
My number 3 is, oh God, why is it that I forget what the names are as we're on it? What was the Force creature thing that teaches Kanan how to see without with the Force? The Bendu, thank you. Because I thought that character was really interesting, and they kind of had something happening similar in the movies. But anyways, I like that idea of that. There's so much more to the Force. It's kind of like, oh God, what's the planet with the father and the son and the daughter? Mortis. I was like, Morbius. Like, that's not it. Mortis. I like that stuff. I wish we could go more into the mystical side of the Force. So the Bendu is really interesting. It's sort of, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure if Filoni had his way, he would go more in. My number 2, Ahsoka, Kanan, Maul versus the Inquisitors. A great moment. I loved it. Yeah, that's all. This is cool. What else?
My number 2, this is a toss-up with the last two. My number 2 will be the showdown. I guess the showdown between Ahsoka and Vader. I wish there could have been a little bit more to it, but like, it's I mean, it's huge. It should be number 1, I think, but I feel like there's probably more in the Clone Wars, Rebels series that could evolve. But yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if George Lucas has ever seen Rebels, and if like that episode aired and then Filoni went to George Lucas and said, George, can Ahsoka still be alive? And George Lucas would have to give his blessing on that. My number 1 is the greatest moment of all time. Vader on top of a TIE fighter coming down
Oh, yeah.
to go head to head with his old Padawan, Ahsoka. That's my number 1. Vader on the TIE.
My number 1, I'm conflicted because it's basically all the same episode. The last episode, which of course, like, that's going to be a good episode because they kind of have to go out with a bang. But the concept of like, Ezra uses the space whales to basically defeat Thrawn, but he sacrifices himself, or just sort of a loose end of like, they might not be dead because they travel through, like they went to a hyperspace sort of tunnel, so they could be still alive somewhere. They could be time travel. But then I start thinking about time traveling and like the Ahsoka with a star bridge and all that, and she returns at the end and Sabine and her go off. You saw my reaction to the comic earlier, so it's, I guess, the moment of like, oh, there could be more to this story, which is that a chick cop out? Like, I would like to know more. But that last episode, I'll make it easy. It's like Ezra sacrificing himself. That's a pretty monumental moment in the series.
Yeah,
so.
Huge for that character that we got to know from years before when he was kind of a bratty. And he started off with him stealing their speeder, their Vespa. So
yeah,
to see the growth of him was absolutely phenomenal. Those were our top 5 Rebels moments. What are your top 5 Rebel moments? Let us know in the comments below. Once again, I want to thank you guys for watching the show. If you're new to it, I should have said this earlier. We're going to get in trouble from our viewers, but subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe.
We need to start the show with that, Brock. That show notes need to start with subscribe to the channel.
Half the time we don't even say what show it is at
the top you know, we're the Den of Nerds and at the Andrew Fantasia YouTube channel. subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. It looks good on us. We'll be at Comic-Con this weekend. If you're in Toronto and you're at Comic-Con, come say hi. Andrew Fantasia has his booth. He's selling this book right here, Side Scroller. It's 9,080 pages. None of it with proper grammar.
Most of it is just pictures of him. It's all his headshots.
But he actually, I still love that he wrote down, no, now don't spoil the ending for anybody on page 618. That's actually the truth. 618 is not even the last page. Anyway, Brock, thanks for joining me today. And I'm thankful for joining you. I'm glad we got together to do this.
Yeah. It's always great to talk about Star Wars.
It is. And more things are going to be dropping. We're less than 30 days until Celebration now. And episode 9's coming, Mandalorian's coming, Resistance is ending, season 1's ending, comics are coming, books are coming, cool things are on the horizon. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down, give us a thumbs sideways, whatever you want to do. And Brock, remember this, you were always scum.
Theme park scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.